I'm Arthur Schnitzer, Director of Automation, Sales, and Service here at Airgas. Today we're here at the Advanced Fabrication Lab in Twinsburg, Ohio, and we're going to show you how easy it is to install the RADNOR Plasma Cutting Table. We're going to be using the demo table in our lab. We install and break this down pretty frequently because it's really that easy to do. Now, real quick safety note, before you start, please consult the installation manual and review all the steps and safety requirements. Now, you may have noticed that the water in our table is green. We use what we call a quench. It's a rust inhibitor. We highly recommend you use that in your plasma table. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to gather all the tools that we need, which really are just some basic hand tools. So we're going to need a flathead screwdriver, set of Allen keys, and potentially a crescent wrench if you're going to use the leveling feet. Let's take a few minutes to go through the various items that are going to come with your RADNOR Plasma table. In the Hypertherm branded box, you're going to have your Hypertherm power source, your torch, ground clamp, additional documentation, as well as some spare consumables. When you open up your torch height controller box, you're going to have the torch height controller module, your white connectivity cable, gray data cable, an additional license of flash cut, as well as your side panels and clips to attach those side panels. After I've checked all of my consumables and make sure everything is there, I'm going to walk around the table really quick. I'm going to note where these locking bolts are. These are used for shipping to make sure that the gantry doesn't move. We've got one on either side of the motor boxes and one on the back. At the same time, I'm going to look around and I'm going to just inspect my gear rack, the table, the inside, and make sure that there's no damage. If you identify some damage, go ahead and reach out to your Airgas account manager so we can get that taken care of for you. Once all the shipping bolts have been removed, let's go ahead and push the torch just a little bit this way. Use a little bit of force. Too much and the motors are going to lock up on you. But we're just going to push until we see the motor in the back of the cross axis just kind of clear the end of the cable track on the bottom, make it a little bit easier for us to install our torch. So for our next step, before we install the torch, we're going to go ahead and come here to the cable tray, and using a flathead screwdriver, we're just going to put it right in the center there and pop that up and get that open. Your torch may come with a piece of gear rack right here. You can go ahead and remove that. We won't be using that in this installation. Once you've opened up the entire cable track, we're going to go ahead and install the torch into the torch mounting block, run the torch through the cable tray, and attach our ohmic sense lead. This blue cable right here is going to be installed. Blue wire is your ohmic sense cable. It's going to connect right there. We're going to feed the torch as well as our ohmic sense lead, which is going to start as blue and go into a black with a little clip at the end through the torch mounting block. This is a magnetic breakaway. Once we have both of these in here, we're actually going to bring this torch mounting block to about, give or take ½ inch above the H on the torch, and then tighten it up. Next, we're going to feed the cable through the cable tray. You might notice that the magnetic breakaway gets a little wiggly on us. That's fine. We'll reset it once we have all the tension taken off the cable and it's in the cable tray. So our next step is we're going to go ahead and run the cable through the cable tray. Up here, we're going to start with having just enough slack to be able to go through this cable tray. And then we're going to take the connection point, put it through the hole on the other motor mount, and then run it through the cable tray on the bottom. So after we've completely secured the cable and the cable tray, we're going to go ahead and connect up the torch to our power source, as well as connect our ground clamp. As far as your ground clamp, you can either clamp it to one of the slats on the table or on the grounding